Hello everyone, my name is Timothy Lee Grant. Today I did a video where I went through a lot of those problems of Leetcode that I previously had been able to solve. So I would study one problem intensely, try to understand it, and then once I could feel relatively confident in my understanding of that question, I moved on to the next one, repeated that process. Well, then today I said, okay, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to go back and look at those problems that I used to be able to do and see if I can do them again. And the answer was no, I can't. So now what I'm going to try to do is, okay, well, I struggled with those problems. Let me go back and now go in depth and try to relearn them essentially. So I have this question here, number 34, find first and last position of elements in sorted array. Okay, and here's the answer. So we're going to be going through this and trying to really understand how it's working, why it's working, and try to put it into our brains about what's going on. So I have my little notebook here, and I'll be making notes along the way, trying to figure out, like, okay, well, how do we actually improve with Leetcode? Because we need a better method. Okay, so let's see, number 34. So let's try this. All right, so we're given an array, which is nums, okay, here. And they are in increasing order, and we have duplicates. And we're trying to find the index of the first value of that target and the index of the last value of that target, okay? So I understand up to here. So we're constantly looking at the left and the right. So we're having a window and it's getting smaller and smaller. The question is, like, now how do we target in on the first element or the last element? And so the way that this person is doing it is they have this like bias, and this is, we're going to tell the traverse function here if we are looking for the first index or if we're looking for the last index where the target occurs. So, okay. But I have no idea how this is actually working. So normally, just talking things through, how is this going to operate? Well, we are going to have our left and right here, and our target is going to be somewhere in the middle, okay? And then we're going to keep moving our left and our right smaller and smaller based off of if the midpoint is bigger or smaller than our target. That's how we do it. Okay, so that covers these portions right there, okay? But now here, this else case. So when is this else case going to hit? This else case is only going to be hit when when our mid is equal to our target. But it could be something like this. Nums is equal to, and I'm just going to say like this, 5, 7, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 9. Kind of like that. So we could be here, and so it could be not a first index or a last index. So how is this modification actually working? That's what I'm going to try to figure out and just convince myself of. All right, so my mid is now one of those values. I know it's part of the target. Okay, so now I do this I equals mid. So why do I need this I? We initialized it up here as 0. So search is going to be called 2 times. Okay, So we're not reinitializing, or we're going to reinitialize this only twice, so it's not, okay. And it's going to be initialized to -1 both times, which means if we never find, whoops, so that means if we never find the value, it's going to be negative, we're just going to return -1, which is what we want here. Okay. But if we do find the value, we set it equal to that index. Okay, so I set it equal to this index. And now let's say I want to find the leftmost, so the first index. So my bias is going to be true. Okay, so I set this equal to here. Okay, and then what I do is bias is true, so I'm moving my right to be mid -1 here. Okay, that kind of makes sense because I don't care about the previous ones, I care about the ones here. Okay, that makes sense. Now, let's say I come here, here's mid, and then I move my left here. So right now my window is kind of these two. Okay. And then let's say I get my mid here, and it hits the else statement. I set my I equal to, well, same was previously there, I think. So I set my I equal to here. Okay. And then I move my right over by 1. So now it's here. Okay. Then what I do is I come back over here and it's going to hit again, and I move my eye, or I hit my eye right there. So now my eye is right there. And then I attempt to move my right over by 1, and then I cause a crisscross. And the while loop ends. Okay. So I see how this is working. I see how it's working, and the opposite is going to be true for the right side, or when I want to find the last element. So let me just come here and just delete that and see if I can come and do my own. Okay, so I'm gonna do this. Traverse, and I need a def. Okay, def traverse, and what do I want to pass in? I kind of forgot what I need to pass in. Now what am I do? So I know that I am going to get a left index, okay, is equal to traverse nums, and I need the bias, which is true. Okay, right index is going to be equal to traverse nums false. Okay, is that all I need to do? And then return left index and right index. Okay, so now I need to accept nums and bias. All right, so now I need to get my left pointer is going to be equal to 0, right pointer is going to be equal to length of nums, okay, because I'm going to iterate through the entire thing, and I'm going to, or the entire array, and I'm going to keep shrinking my window, okay, and now I want this I is equal to -1. Now, the question is, okay, well, I just saw this problem and I know I equals -1, but how would I have come up with that if I hadn't seen it before? Like, that's the question that I need to answer. It's not just like, okay, well, can I memorize it? Yeah, I can memorize the answer. And I now kind of understand how it's working. So I'm not just memorizing it, but I kind of understand how it's working. But the next level above that is, okay, well, how would I have come up with that? So, okay, let's just keep going. So, and this is just standard binary search here. While left is less than right, I want to find my mid, which is going to be equal to left plus right, and then integer division 2. Okay, so now if nums of mid is greater than target, okay, and did we even put target? I think it has access to target up here, right? And target does not change, so I don't need to pass it in. I believe so. So now, I don't want to look at the examples over here. I just want to think this through. Like, am I going to be changing left or right? So if nums, so my target is smaller, right? My target is smaller, and what does that mean? That means in the array, I found something that was bigger, so my mid is bigger. And my target is somewhere in here, so it's in the left half, which means I need to move my right pointer over by 1. Okay, so that means right equals mid minus 1. And then elif nums of mid is less than target. So target is greater than my midpoint. So I need to move my left over by 1. Left equals mid plus 1. Okay? Now, else. This is the case that I found my target. So, found my target. Okay. So now I need to check. What do I need to check? I need to check if I need to kind of save the location that I just found, right? So I is equal to mid. I say, hey, well, so far this is one of the answers. It might not be the first, or the leading target value, but it's at least one of the target values. So now I need to say if bias, okay? Now if bias is true, I know that I'm in the location where my mid has the target values. So I can move and I'm looking for the first, which is going to be here, which is part of the left. So I want to move my right over. So right is equal to mid minus 1, okay? Else left is equal to mid plus 1, okay? And now with that done, I want to return I, because I is going to happen upon the last time that I found the target that I was looking for, which corresponds to the first or the last. Let me submit that and see if it works. Okay, so it didn't. Okay, so I'm running this one right here, nums and false on right index. So I come in here and I look at this, and I will set mid, I'll set left equal to mid plus 1. Okay, so now we have this window here. Okay, kind of like that. Okay. Then I come back in and I get my mid is equal to here. Okay. And I say I is equal to mid. Okay, so I is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is exactly what we want. And now bias is false. So I come in here and I say left is equal to mid plus 1, which is going to be here, and then we will terminate, right? Okay. What if there was another 8 right there? I don't know. Like, what about this? So then I'm going to come here. Okay, so I just set I is here, and now my window is actually like that. Okay, I is right there, my window is like that. I come back up here, I find the middle, well, let's say it's here, this 10. Okay, and then I say that that's too big, and I put it right there. So I say it's too big, and then I change it to be mid minus 1. Okay. And then I run again and I find it, and bias is false, but I set I is equal to mid. Why? this is so fun. Okay. Should be correct. Well, what's the difference? So obviously I still have some kind of misunderstanding, or I'm also realizing that I have trouble actually following through and like going through each of these examples of like how it changes with each step. So I need to practice that more. So I come here and now this is mid, okay? Something like this, and I have mid here. Is nums of mid greater than target? No. Is it less than target? No. It's equal. Now, come here, I is equal to this one, yeah? So now, is bias true? No. Else, so I'm updating left, okay, to be what? It is equal to mid plus 1. So left is going to be right there. Okay, now I come back in again, and mid is now right there. Okay, and now is it greater than? No. Is it less than? No. Come here, I is now equal to mid. It's right there. Okay, and so I say bias is false, and I change mid to be left plus 1 or left is equal to mid plus 1 is right there. Okay, and I has already been updated to be this. This one comes out to be, this is still valid because they're equal to each other. Wait, or should it be equal to? Because if they're equal to the same value, it still could be the fact that it is that number, right? Out of range. So I do need to check the zeroth, or I do need to check when left and right are equal to each other, right? I have to do that. So they do have to be equal, I think. This wasn't part of the original one, but I'm trying to figure. Okay, so let me just submit this, see if it actually takes it, and then. Okay, fine. No. Darn. Why? Wait, did it take it or not? Runtime error. But that worked, right? So it's still wrong. I don't know, man. What it. And this is really showing me that I don't know how to go through and walk through the problem and troubleshoot it either. Because I know the general idea, I just can't go through it. So why does it not need to be equal? And I don't remember them doing that. Right is mid minus 1, left is mid plus 1. I is mid, okay. Left is mid, right is that. Oh, come on, man. Is it that? No. Well, that is going to be a problem, but why do I need target? Target is already there. Target doesn't change, so I don't think I need target. This is so annoying. Though that's what I was trying. Is that what I did here? Okay, so it does need to be equal to, like this, right there. Is that it? And then submit. Judging. Okay, so there we go. So, trying to recap kind of what I need to do. I can't move on from this. I still need to think about it, try to put this problem in my head, try to understand because I'm having a lot of lapses in like the my ability to walk through the problem, my ability to think through the problem. And obviously with this one, it's obviously length is going to give me the number of elements, but I want right as my indice, and indices are one less than, because it's zero indexed, right? Like, okay, that was kind of a dumb mistake. I did think of this, and I was questioning about like why don't we do this? So I think the main thing that I need to think about right now is trying to just keep thinking about this problem, have it in my head, clanging around in there, and trying to continue to conceptualize it and yeah, think about it. I wish I had a more direct and concrete way that I'm going to be moving forward, but I think that's the way that I am going to go. Just kind of, I don't know. I'll try to conceptualize this problem better, and maybe after like doing it and then thinking about it and then like letting it my subconscious kind of mull it over a little bit, perhaps I will be able to come back to it later and have a better intuitive understanding. That's what I'm hoping. I don't know if it's going to work, but that's what I'm hoping for. So anyways, thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, subscribe. I'm going to be making follow-up videos on this. Hopefully I will have some success. We don't know, but there we are. So thank you for watching. My name is Timothy Lee Grant, and I'll see you very soon.